Yes. Shalom. Shalom. Shalom, everyone. Okay. Welcome once again to another week, another fellowship from Just a Word. And we're just getting, let me get this link here from the website. Okay. All right. The link for the teaching from Just a Word TV is in the chat for those of us in the group. So we can share that link. All right. I don't see Sister Janet on as yet. All right. Welcome once again to another of our teachings here on Just a Word. Okay. So this week, I have a lot to go through. Hope we can go through it in time. One teaching leads to another. And so what we'll be starting with will be what we have gone through already, but building block must be upon building block, and we must lay the foundation because teaching moves from teaching to teaching. So we have to lay the building block from where we were before, and be assured that you might be hearing some things and be thinking as if we've heard it before, but we're moving from one teaching into another teaching. And by the time we are advanced, you'll see where we are going. All right. So this is Chazak Eliyahu Yasharal here from Just a Word. And let us begin. Right. So, was it last week? We spoke about a snare. We looked at Luke 21:34 to 36. And we spoke about this snare, which is to come upon the earth. And we showed that the snare was a deception. Read, please, Wayne.
And take heed to yourselves, lest at any time your hearts be overcharged with surfeiting and drunkenness and cares of this life, and so that they come upon you unawares.
Continue.
For as a snare shall it come on all them that dwell on the face of the whole earth.
All right, so the Messiah had warned us about not being overcharged with surfeiting, and we look at surfeiting being excess and drunkenness. And last week we looked at the drunkenness to show the drunkenness of Babylon. Babylon has been a golden cup in Yahuwah's hand, and the whole world has become drunken and mad. So we look at it as showing that we must not be entwined in Babylon. And the cares of this life we also looked at, that we should not be overcome by the cares of this life. We must cast our cares on the Most High because he cares for us. But it says, for as a snare shall it come on all them that dwell on the face of the earth. And we looked at snare, and the meaning of snare is from the Greek pagis, which actually is a trap, figuratively a trick or stratagem. So the Messiah was warning us about a trick that is coming up upon this earth, or a stratagem that comes from strategy, that some scheming, they are going to trick us. And it says temptation. So it's a deception, a trick, a temptation, a snare, a strategy that is going to come up on this earth. And this is what the Messiah was warning us about. And in verse 36, what did he say, Wayne? Watch ye.
Watch ye therefore, and pray always, that ye may be accounted worthy to escape all these things that shall come to pass, and to stand before the Son of Man.
All right, so that's it. That's what we looked at. That what is coming upon this earth, the snare that he warned us about, is a deception. So we're going to look at deception. And we are going to look at, start at Revelation 19:20. We're going to show the deception that the Messiah was speaking about. Want to narrow it down. Revelation 19:20. Read, please.
And the beast was taken, and with him the false prophets that wrought miracles before him, with which he deceived them that had received the mark of the beast, and them that worshipped his image. These both were cast alive into a lake of fire burning with brimstone.
So we see the deception. The false prophet wrought miracles with which he deceived them that had received the mark of the beast. So the deception in the end times will be the mark of the beast. So the snare that the Messiah was warning about, the deception, is the mark of the beast. And we're going to use a couple more verses to connect and prove this. All right. So we go to Revelation 12, verse 9. Because we're going to show that Satan was cast out. When he was cast out, he went to deceive the whole world in the end times. Read verse 9, please.
And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him.
All right, so the devil was cast out. This is the season. And the mark of the beast, Revelation 13:16-17. That's going to sum up everything. We're going through this very rather quickly and not in detail because we have gone into detail with them on our previous videos. Revelation 13:16, read please.
And he caused it all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads.
So this is the deception that the devil will cause in the end times. He's going to cause all. And cause here, how will he cause it? He will cause it through deception, through a snare, through a trap, through a trick, through a stratagem, through a temptation. That is how he will cause all to take this thing. And what will happen when he causes it? Verse 17.
And that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name.
All right. So this is it. So in summary, what we just showed with these three verses, Satan is cast out of heaven and goes out to deceive the nations. All right. Or we left out one verse. Revelation 18:23. We left that out, which is another piece of the puzzle. Should have looked at that first. Revelation 18:23. We looked at this in detail, but let's look at it again. This is the deception that Satan is going to cause upon the earth in the end times. Read, please, Wayne.
And the light of a candle shall shine no more at all in thee, and the voice of the bridegroom and of the bride shall be heard no more aught at all in thee. For thy merchants were the great men of the earth, for by thy sorceries were all nations deceived.
All right, this is the end time. This is talking about what was going to happen to Babylon in the end time. And we know that in the end time, Satan is cast out. And this is what he goes out to do, to deceive. But he's going to use the merchants, the businessmen, the Bill Gates, the big pharma, right? To deceive the earth. The merchants, the businessmen were the great men of the earth. Because right now we have a businessman who is actually leading the earth. He's coming out and speaking as if he is the leader of this earth. Whatever he says goes. He's a businessman. He's a merchant. He's a great man of the earth. And these great men of the earth are who are dictating what is the Facebook, Zuckerberg, Amazon man. These are the great men of the earth now who are dictating the pace of the earth. The Google people are dictating how people think. Apple, how people think, extracting people's, they know everything about people now. They are the people who are leading the charge in the end time, the businessmen, the merchants. For by thy sorceries, the sorceries of Babylon, the sorceries of these businessmen. And we looked last week and we showed that sorceries comes from pharmakia, which means medication or pharmacies. And the deception that we're having this time in the world is through pharmaceutical companies. Pfizer. What's the other one's name? Moderna. What's the AstraZeneca, whatever. These are businessmen. These are pharmacies, sorceries, pharmakia, medication, magic, mystery. This is why in the previous verse, it says the false prophet deceived them by the miracles, sorceries that they did. All right? So by the sorceries were all nations deceived. So this is deception in the end time. This is a snare in the end time. The sorceries, the medication, the vax will deceive people in the end time. So when you put all of this together, Satan is cast out of heaven and goes out to deceive the nations through businessmen and their medication, pharmaceuticals, and all men will be deceived unless their name is written in the book of life. And I forgot to put in that verse, all right? That all nations, was it? Revelation 13. Let me see if I can get it quickly. That if your name is not written in the book of life, then you are going to be deceived. Revelation 13:8. Yeah. Read, please, Wayne.
And all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb, slain from the foundation of the world.
They shall worship the beast. So if their name is not in the book of life, if their names are not written in the book of life, then they are going to worship the beast. It's as simple as that. Right? So Satan and his businessmen are going to deceive those whose names are not written in the book of life. It's as simple as that. And how will Satan go about deceiving them? That is the question. How will Satan go about deceiving all those whose names are not written in the Lamb's book of life? And we're going to give life to what is happening in this world today. When we look at a website that tells us exactly how they will get everyone to buy into their deception. And this is the mask initiation ritual. The mask initiation ritual. Okay? The wearing of masks is an ancient pagan ritual to get people to conform, to move from one stage to the other, because we're moving into the fourth industrial revolution. And the fourth industrial revolution, as Klaus Schwab tells us, is the fusion of our physical, our digital, and our biological identities. Now, to get people to willingly give up certain things so that you can fuse them with a machine, that you can let them become transhuman. For you get them to do that, you have to transform their thinking first away from the old way of thinking, or else they are going to refuse. Hence the mask initiation ritual. Let me try to read this quickly. Julian Huxley once wrote that the basic elements in cultural transmission and transformation are psychological. This is how we change. Since time immemorial, higher rituals have been performed to transform reality. They have to transform us from the old person to the new. Ritual is a spiritual psychodrama of consciousness, a deliberate action taken to facilitate change. Changes to the whole of the environment people exist in, starting with the mental landscape of the people themselves. The place where our reality exists is first born in a dream. Artist Sharon Devlin once bluntly described the true purpose of ritual as being a method to alter one's mind. It's a sacred drama in which you are the audience as well as the participant. And the purpose of it is to activate parts of the mind that are not activated by everyday activity. This mandated wearing of masks is no coincidence. It is their way of altering our thought patterns, alter how we think, and transform us from the old person to the new, making us their new creation. We are new creations in Messiah. When we take on Messiah and we are transformed, their transformation, this is their transformation. Satan's transformation through the mask. Altering your mind, a sacred drama in which you are the audience as well as the participant. You go out on the road, everyone is wearing a mask. You also are wearing a mask. So you are the audience and the participant. And it activates parts of the mind that are not activated by everyday activity. So the things that you used to do, now new things are presented to you. And this matches with the scripture. All things are passed away. Behold, all things become new. Satan has a replacement for everything in scripture. Continuing, ritual facilitates the mechanics of change through specific mechanisms. A rhythm to sing to merge and flow with, a magnetic draw, drawing one on the path toward transmutation. So they're drawing you along the path of changing from one person to another. All right? Remember, they want to make us into transhumans, a different person. They do not want us to be humans anymore. Rituals are vehicles driving home those ideas. The information, the data, the symbols, which upon transmission create the language by which new society members communicate after they are initiated. So this mask language, and Sister Bernie was speaking about this person throwing them out of their cab because they didn't want to fully put on the mask. The masking is a new language. So they have been inducted through the mask ritual, into thinking and reinforcing the belief of the persons who control the masking system. This new language imparts a new understanding through definitions that the ritual generates. A ritual initiation introduces and inducts one into the way. See it? We are followers of the way. Satan has his own way. A new way of life or worldview, a program to guide beliefs and actions, enabling the initiate to become a full and true member of the new society. Note that ritual isn't always a conscious action. Not everyone partaking in a ritual is made explicitly aware that they are participants. So, people wearing the masks think they are doing it for their protection. Yes? And yet, still new patterns of thoughts of significance are drummed in, conscious or not, of the ritual in which the initiate is partaking. All right. So let's look at the 3 stages of an initiation ritual. An initiation ritual typically involves 3 stages. Let's see if any of this sounds familiar to you. And when you hear it, you're going to see that this is exactly what they have done today. The first stage is isolation for purification. That is why we have lockdowns, isolations. We have the 6 feet apart. We have the work from home. Don't go to the stores. Don't go on the road unless you're going to the stores. If you don't have any lawful business on the road, don't go on the road. Isolation. In this stage, the initiate is separate from the mundane. Did you know that mundane literally means of the world? The initiate is largely removed from the otherwise familiar persons, places, and things that they're used to in order to be cleared of them. This is why we have this antisocial masking, the antisocial masking, and the antisocial 6 feet distance, and no more than 5 persons together, or no more than that person at this function, no more than this. All right? It's to isolate us. in order for us to be cleared of persons before. An initiate is forced to become detached and insulated, purged and purified. That purging and purification is removing all things from the past and the way of life of the past and bringing us into a new way of life. An essential element of this separation from one's typical environment is a suspension of the normal rules of living that one is used to, the normal way. See that? The normal way. And this is what people are going to take this back. They want things to go back to normal because their normal has been removed. Can't go to the restaurants, can't go to the ballparks, can't go to the game, can't go to the this, can't go to that, can't go to the parties. That normal has been taken away. And it is for a reason, for you to be purged, detached, and insulated from the old way of life. Most of the initiate's senses will become commanded and regulated at this time. In other words, the majority of what the initiate sees, hears, smells, touches, and tastes is deliberately controlled. That is why we have the authority so high-handed telling us, controlling us through the media, telling us exactly what we should do, when we should do it, when we should not do that, and when we should not do this. Deliberately controlled. In the ritual, these senses may be bombarded, modified, limited, or deprived. But regardless, perceptions and experiences are ultimately overseen by the high priest and priestesses directing the ritual's performance. For us here in Jamaica, it's our prime minister. Everybody listens to him. He's on social media. Boom, he switches on. And then he comes and he speaks out, you do what you must do, what you must not do, what you must do, what you must not do. He's the high priest directing the ritual's performance from Jamaica. All right? In the US, I think it's the president of Fauci or something like that. Different high priests. These people direct it. The World Health Organization has that other man, what's his name is, he directs everything from there. So the ritual enables new light to shine through a newly opened window of thoughts. So we are transformed into new windows of thoughts. With nowhere else to go except the places that we are allowed, the insulated, isolated, initiated may be forced to confront his or her own reflection and inner shadows that have been ignored or buried somewhere deep beneath the average day-to-day. These things suddenly become unavoidable. Somebody was saying something? Triggers are detonated. Another purge. So people, because of this control, people now have to reflect on their own inner shadows, things that go on inside of them. And people get panicky, people get scared, people get restless. All right? And it triggers off things. People get miserable, people get aggressive. Possibly the reason why Jamaica has so upsurged in murders. Yeah? Another purge. Just as they involve surrender, initiation rituals also involve sacrifice. That is why sacrifice, lockdown, close your business. You cannot operate until within certain hours. Some people's business have gone out totally. There has to be sacrifice. Anything to do with the devil, you have to give him some sacrifice. Schools have to be locked down, etc., etc. Both the tangible that can be held in the hand and the intangible, such as behaviors, must be given up by requirement. So they tell us what we must do and what we cannot do. Beaches closed down, this and that, changing our behaviors. After all, for something to be given, something must also be taken. A token of submission, an ounce of blood, a pound of clay to be remolded. So we must give up something. Yes, a pound of clay to be remolded. This is, we're giving up ourselves to be remolded how they want us to be. Whether dramatically overt or deceitfully subtle, the ritual reinterprets reality. A new definition of reality is given, which is why they keep hammering in our heads a new normal, a new normal, a new normal. That's what you hear from them. A new definition of reality. The fourth industrial revolution, new normal. Training in the form of new behaviors and knowledge, including myths and codes, are introduced. A whole lot of myths surrounding this CV19 thing. Things necessary for new members to function properly in the society they are being inducted into are all imbued during this time. So we are programmed to function properly in the society we are being inducted into. This is why this teaching is called the mask, the mark, and the second Exodus, because the mask is the precursor of the mark. So what we are being taught to do, we cannot wear the mask. We cannot go in the supermarket unless we wear the mask. We cannot go into any store unless we wear the mask. What is this telling us? They are training us that when they say, if you do not have this vax, you cannot enter. If you don't have proof of this vax, you cannot enter onto the airplane. If you don't have proof of this vax, you cannot enter into the store. If you don't have proof of this vax, if you don't have this vax, you cannot enter the supermarket. Then we would have been trained through the mask induction ritual. This is what the ritual is preparing us for. I heard someone said they think the vax is a precursor to the mark. No, the mask is a precursor to the mark. Yep. Repetition is typical, as its use helps hammer home the spell on the initiates. Repetition over and over again. You hear, you cannot do this. You can't buy and sell without the mask. You cannot go into the supermarket without the mask. New normal, over and over again. So let's narrow it down more specifically and look at the wearing of the masks for the initiates. The wearing of masks during an initiation ritual is almost always required. These are age-old things, These are not new, This mask thing is not new. These are pagan rituals that have been through time immemorial. All right? Masking has traditionally played an important role in the rituals of these kind. Masks hasten the suppression of ego to help facilitate the death of the old identity before the identification with and the manifestation of a new identity. The masks are the bridges. The mask bridge the gap between the old you and the new you. That is the purpose of the mask. Disguised under a mask and hidden away, the initiate is more easily able to transcend the self, pushed forward toward that invisible line between the physical and spiritual realms. So the masks makes it easy for them to push you from this rejection of their mark to the acceptance of their mark. Yeah? Charma. Charma is yet another aspect of this kind of initiation ceremony. It's used mostly to personalize the fear of death. And isn't this what they have been doing to us? People dying around us, we hear the numbers. How many people died today? How many times have do they keep reminding us that how many people have died? And we know that they are lying. Because everyone that dies now dies of this disease. Even if you have 10 complications and you die, it is CV that caused the death. All right? These numbers are to cause a trauma, to personalize the fear of death, to make us constantly fear that we are going to die at any time. So we reach the point of hopelessness. That is their aim. And the point of when you reach the point of hopelessness, this is when you accede to their program. Sometimes in the ritual, the act of dying is ceremonially role played, the dark beyond the darkness, the yawning abyss. Only after death is confronted can the initiated be symbolically resurrected and reborn anew. So when you reach the point of hopelessness, then you can be reborn anew. While the process that is playing out is quite coordinated and sophisticated in reality, it may be executed in a purposefully confusing manner, so that the goalposts seem to keep moving back and forth, up and down, here, now, there, immediately after. Here, now, there, immediately after. And this is why we saw this and we see them coming with confusing things. First, they say wearing the mask is good, then they say no, wearing the mask has no value to you. Then they come back and say, wearing the mask, you must wear the mask. They come and say, okay, the vax will prevent you from getting the CV. Then after people start getting the vax, we hear that the vax cannot protect you. We hear that you still have to social distance. You still have to wear masks. You still have to do this. Now we are hearing that people still can catch the CV from you even after you have. And then they keep going on and on with their story. They move the goalposts, they change things around. They tell you that, okay, you're gonna the vax gonna arrive now. No. You're gonna have enough vax for everybody. Then no, you hear that the vax is run out and it is scarce and all of that. They just keep moving the goalposts to make it confusing. This renders the initiate unable to find solid mental ground from which to make logical sense of anything. So people are distressed, cannot find a resting place, cannot find a comfort zone because they want to make sense. And this is why people, by the way, don't accept the word easily and don't leave Christianity easily, because as soon as they find a resting ground, as soon as they find a comfort zone, they want to rest in that comfort zone. So it takes a person who loves truth to want to move from their comfort zone. Right? So this is what they do. People get confused. People now look to them for the answer. And when they give people the answer, the people say, oh, finally. Oh boy, it has been such a ride. And this is why I see people, have you heard people say that they are tired of CV and they are willing to take the vax because they are tired of the CV. This disorientation is key in the transformation ritual. The uncertain timing generates a general anxiety, further removing the initiate from reality while leaving him or her susceptible to a type of Pavlovian conditioning. So this anxiety that we get, and we see this anxiety when we try to talk to people about this, a lot of people get anxious, they get aggressive, they curse, they do everything. Yes? Sometimes I comment on the Jamaica Observer thread where there are thousands of Jamaican commenting, man, you should hear the things that they say to me or about me, or the things that they call me, because they are anxious, right? And they do not want to hear, they're anxious, and so they are looking to these people to give them rest, and they don't want to hear anything from anyone else, all right? So they have been conditioned. This weakens the defenses just as a virus would. Only this has the potential to break down the individual much more completely than a virus. Whatever the finer details, the previous way of life is shed like an old skin at the end of the ritual, an end that comes before the new beginning. The change begins. My people, this is what is happening to these people. This is what they have used the mask and do to prepare people for the mark. Because when they do this and break down people like this, people look to them for salvation. This is why I see people running. I have friends who I know have taken this. And these people, I knew them as being very scared of certain things, they would be very cautious. And we say, no, why? I'm not taking this thing. I'm not. But yet still they run and take it. Why? They have been transformed and they have been broken down to the point where they are looking for help. And they look to these people for help. And these people give them the answer and tell them the vax is the answer. And so they run for the answer. But the second phase is the transition. As the old self symbolically dies and passes away, the initiate descends into a state of liminality, a sort of fever dream purgatory nowhere land, the void in the middle. This is where they take them. They take them to a point where they are like, they're nowhere. Where am I? Where am I? So they are there for the pickings because they have now lost themselves. Thus, the old self dies as the initiate is purified. The initiate is now a white room, a blank canvas, primed and desperate for paint, a tabula rasa. So they have reached to the point where they are now hopeless and without strength. Just like a white room, a blank canvas, washed and ready. And when you have a blank canvas or a white room, anything you touch on the wall will show up. All right? So they are prepared and ready to be used. At the same time, his old existence and way of life dies. The initiate transcending it is gradually being processed, reprogrammed, and incorporated into his new environment, reformed, reconstituted, and rebirthed into the new world that awaits at the end of the tunnel. This is why we see the world has lost its common sense. This is why people reject and will not listen to what we have to say. This is why people have now been transformed and this world looks so crazy. And we are asking, where has common sense gone? Common sense has gone down. The mask, induction, ritual. And finally, the integration. At some point in the future, we'll see the final phase of the transformational ritual integration. And this is taking the mark, taking the vax. This is the final phase. Does any of that, what has been described in this article, sound familiar to you? The only question that remains is, do you consent? All right? So that was a mouthful, but I hope it showed us what is happening. Who is that? Could you mute your mic, please? Who is that? Who is that in the kitchen watching you up or something? Daval, that was you. Wayne.
I'm here.
Yeah, let me have your comment.
Well, I mean, pretty much what was just read is, exactly what we are seeing playing out in today's world. Like I said some time ago, it is no doubt, because one day I went to a store to purchase something and I wasn't wearing a mask. And the lady said to me that she will not accept my money unless I'm wearing a mask. So we know definitely that the mask is just the practice for the mark. And we are still happy that it is only a practice, because if it was not practice, many of us who are saying we would not take it would take it eventually. So it is a good thing, it is a practice. And we are going to see a lot more things happening when it comes to whether or not we should wear this mask. In the beginning, the head of the CDC said we didn't have to wear the mask. And then they said, you can if you want. Then they said, you have to wear the mask. So by that, you have to say to yourself, something is not right here. Because if they are the head of what is going on, and they're talking like they're not sure, or they're acting like they're very smart, they did not come and say you have to. They do it that way for us to think that what they're doing is not on purpose. So those guys are kind of 10 feet ahead of many of us. But we have the scriptures here to back up what we believe and to live what we believe. The bottom line is, whatever it is that they are saying or doing, we must remember that Satan wants to be like the Most High. Whatever the Most High have done, he's trying to outdo him. He's trying to be like him. So when we see what is expected from those wicked ones, or the things that the Most High warn us against, we have to say this is it. Because what worse can happen? If this is not it, what could it be? They are calling for everyone to be vaccinated. What worse can there be? If they had said, okay, 2 billion people should take it, that might not be it. But they are calling for everyone, and the scripture explain everyone basically, free and bond, you know? And it is just my problem is I still cannot comprehend how is it that so many people are still so blind. It is right there, and I'm wondering if I'm wearing a magnifying glass and they're wearing nothing.
But it seems I'm gonna I'll give you a 0, on the test,
Mm.
because we're just telling you why. It's a
Well,
mask initiation ritual.
yeah,
That's
that's
calls
true.
it.
But again, I still, I mean, it is still within us to wonder, like, you really, that
I
is
don't want
it.
I don't want that anymore.
That
When I
is
get the
it.
understanding of the ritual, and I see it, because I used to say something that's a no, man. I used to say, no, this is spiritual. This is not normal. So when I get the understanding of the ritual now, then I get the understanding that, hey, this is why this is happening.
It is just real, and for some of us, because we are seeing much clearer now. The way we are seeing it, it is like nothing. Oh, that's it. So that is the next thing. We just have to be mindful and don't allow people to take away that which we know is real. Because people have a tendency to want to tell you that what you're seeing is foolishness, what you're saying is wrong. And the first thing we have to know is they cannot stay out there in darkness and tell us what is right.
Exactly.
So whatever it is they are trying to tell us, whatever it is they are trying to encourage us in, we have to see them as a liar, because they cannot stay out there and see spiritual things.
Exactly.
So it is just a big eye opener for us to be very happy of the separation the Most High have made with us from the world, so we can see what is going on. So now we can see what's going on. We have to hold fast to his truth and to live his truth even up unto death, because we know that death is coming, but how do we want to die?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's real.
All right. So now we know all of this. We have to ask the question, this temptation, we have to ask the question, who will overcome the deception and how will they overcome it? And for who will overcome the deception, we start at Revelation 12:11. Who will overcome the deception? Revelation 12:11. Read, please, Wayne.
And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony, and they loved not their lives unto the death.
Right. So people out there staying in sin, saying that they want to overcome this, they are not taking this, that's not enough. It's not enough to be in sin and to say you're not taking this. You have to overcome by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of your testimony. Where is the testimony? Where is the word of your testimony? How are you living and obeying the word of the Most High? Right? And they love not their lives unto the death. This is also very important. Most of the people who are running to take this thing are scared to death. Persons who overcome this thing cannot love their lives unto death. They cannot be afraid. Take that thing off, hand. Get rid of it. They cannot be afraid of dying. Give it to me. They cannot be afraid of dying. That's the only way you will overcome this thing. Revelation 14:12. And we're going to look at a very important word that we're going to look at next. Revelation 14:12. Read, please.
Here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of Allah and the faith of Yahusha.
All right. So in the previous verse, he was speaking about the mark of the beast. So this is telling you who overcomes the mark of the beast. And we're going to look at this word here, the patience of the saints, as to how it relates to our end times. So the true saints will be patient, and they will keep the commandments of the Most High and the faith of Yahusha. You cannot overcome without keeping the commandments of the Most High and the faith of Yahusha. All right? These are necessary. And let's look at Revelation 3:7-13. All right. This is telling us who will overcome in the end. Very important. Remember the word patience. We're going to look at patience after this, but we have to look at this first. Read, please, Wayne.
And to the angel of the assemblies of Philadelphia, write these things, said he that is holy, he that is true, he that had the key of David, he that openeth, and no man shutteth, and shutteth, and no man openeth.
All right. The assembly in Philadelphia is the believers who were patient, who kept the word of the Messiah's patience. Continue, verse 8.
I know thy works. Behold, I have set before thee an open door, and no man can shut it. For thou hast a little strength, and hast kept my word, and hast not denied my name.
Remember in Revelation 14:12, he said, these are they.
Then just let.
Could you please mute your mic? Who is that?
Sorry.
You have no reason to have your mic on, please.
Oh, mute my mic. Valda.
Oh, Valda. Oh, Valda. Oh, your first time. I understand.
Yeah, I'm not understanding. Mute the mic. All right, hold on.
Yeah, man. All right. For thou hast a little strength, and hast kept my word. So those in this and has not denied my name. So you have to have kept his word. You have to have kept the word of the Most High, kept his commandments, and has not denied his name. All right. So you would have to have the faith of Yahusha, not deny the name of Yahusha in order to overcome. Verse 9.
Verse 9. Behold, I will make them of the synagogues of Satan, which say they are Jews and are not, but do lie. Behold, I will make them to come and worship before thy feet, and to know that I have loved thee.
So because they have kept the word of his patience, those of the synagogue of Satan which say they are Jews and are not are going to bow down at their feet. This is telling you that the Messiah was speaking to the true Yahudim, the true Jews. He's going to make the fake Jews come and bow down to the true Yahudim. And why they are going to worship at his feet to know that he has loved them is because in the end they will be in captivity and they would be the wretched of this earth, and people would believe that they are not blessed, that they are cursed. All right? Because we hear people, one of the criteria, they're saying, oh, the Jews are blessed. So they are the chosen people. Those in Israel, they are blessed, they are rich, and they are prospering. The Most High is prospering them. No. The true Yahudim, the Most High, the Messiah, in the end will have to let people know that he loved us, because it's going to look as if he did not love us. Anyway, let me continue. Verse 10.
Because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world, to try them and dwell upon the earth.
This is the mark of the beast, the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world, to try them that dwell upon the earth. This is what is happening now. It's a trial. Who will take the mark? Who will be strong enough to resist it? This is the trial. This is the hour of temptation. And you have to have kept the word of his patience for you to be kept from the hour of temptation. For you to overcome the snare, you have to keep the word of his patience. And so we will be tried and tested. Things will be taken away from us. Right? But how will we respond? That is the question. So we have to look at patience. Very important. Patience, and how patience is going to get us through this foolishness that we are in, this test or trial that we are in. So we look at the importance of patience in the end time. And before we look at the importance of patience, we have to look at the meaning of patience. Now, patience as used is from G5281. It's the Greek hupomane, which means cheerful or hopeful endurance, constancy, enduring, patience, patient, continuance, waiting. All of these words speak to what we must be doing. We are waiting. We are in patient continuance. So we are continuing, pushing on along the way, along our journey, along the path of righteousness, regardless of what is coming, cheerfully enduring the trials that are here. This is the patience of the saints. And the Merriam-Webster dictionary has a very good, very revealing meanings. Read the first one, please, Wayne.
The ability to wait for a long time without becoming annoyed or upset.
Hear that? Here is the patience of the saints. The saints must have the ability to wait. To what, Wayne?
Come back.
To what? Must have the ability to
wait for a long time without becoming annoyed or upset.
To wait for a long time.
Yeah,
right?
For a long time.
So whatever it takes, we endure.
Not
the second one
nothing.
Is
the ability to remain calm and not become annoyed when dealing with problems or with difficult people.
All right, to remain calm throughout all of this and not to become annoyed throughout all of this. All right, when dealing with this difficult problem or with difficult people to whom we are ministering. The third one is
the ability to give attention to something for a long time without, I can't say anymore.
Without becoming bored or losing interest. All right. So this is it, the ability to give attention to something for a long time without becoming bored or losing interest. In other words, patience relates to constant continuance, joyfully, continually, despite the negatives that are thrown at us. All right? So we're going to look at the Bible, what the Bible says about patience and how we overcome this time of temptation through patience. And for that, we'll go to Tehillim, Psalms 37, 5 to 15. Psalms 37, 5 to 15. Oh, there.
While you're looking for that, Brother B, everything that we just summarized about patience, in the end, if we look at it, we see that it is actually salvation.
Yep.
So patience also, all of those is just going to be salvation. Because for the Most High, patience, the Messiah, his patience means salvation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so for us, it is a win-win situation when we fall in that category.
All right. Read from verse 5, please.
Commit thy way unto Yahuwah. Trust also in him, and he shall bring it to pass.
Commit everything unto Yahuwah and trust in him. Verse 6.
And he shall bring forth thy righteousness as the light, and thy judgment as the noonday.
So the patience will bring forth our righteousness. Verse 7.
Rest in Yahuwah and wait patiently for him. Fret not thyself because of him who prospereth in his way, because of the man who bringeth wicked device to pass.
So rest in Yahuwah and wait patiently for him. Patience. And don't fret because of those who prosper in his way, because right now, what they say, you can't do this, you can't travel. If you don't have, they're gonna soon it's gonna come. You can't travel if you don't have the vax. I'm gonna see people traveling, and you're gonna want to travel. You're gonna see people working, and you cannot work because you're not a part of the beast system. So you won't be able to work. What does it say? Fret not thyself because of him who prospereth in his ways, because those who conform to the beast system will be prospering for a very short time. And this is what we're going to look at. I think it's next. We're going to look at the fact that they will be only prospering for a very, 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 very short time. All right? Because of the man who bringeth wicked devices to pass. So these people who are doing the wickedness, they are going to be prospering. Don't fret because of them. Verse 8.
Cease from anger and forsake wrath. Fret not thyself in any wise to do evil.
So patiently continue along the path of the way. Don't let it dissuade you to try to go anywhere of evil, to try to cut any corner, to try to beat any system by doing evil to beat the system. Verse 9.
For evildoers shall be cut off, but those that wait upon Yahuwah, they shall inherit the earth.
Those that wait and wait, so sound, no sound. Is everyone hearing me?
Yes.
I don't know.
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, I don't know, Charmaine. Don't know what's causing it. But those
Yeah, I
that,
hear.
Yes.
all right, thanks. But those that wait upon Yahuwah, they shall inherit the earth. Those who are patient, here is the patience of the saints that wait upon Yahuwah, regardless of what is going through, they are going through. They shall inherit the earth. Verse 10.
For yet a little while, and the wicked shall not be.
Stop,
Yea-
stop. For yet a little while. Remember I just said that all of this is just going to be for a little while. The Most High does not let the wicked have a way with his saints for a long time. For yet a little while, and the wicked shall not be. Continue.
11. But the meek shall inherit the earth, and shall delight themselves in the abundance of peace.
All right. The meek, the humble, the patient shall inherit the earth. So after all the wickedness of the wicked, someone has their phone on. Mute your phone, please. Someone in the bathroom, mute your phone, please. But the meek shall inherit the earth and shall delight themselves in the abundance of peace. So after the patience, the meek, the patient shall inherit the earth, the meek, and delight themselves in the abundance of peace. Verse 12.
The wicked plotted against the just, and gnashed upon him with his teeth.
This is what they're doing. This MOTB thing is going to divide us. It's going to divide us between those who are just and those who decide stout-heartedly that they are not going to take this thing. It is the just who are going to rebel. Verse 13.
Yahuwah shall laugh at him, for he seeth that his days coming.
So while we are here worrying ourselves about what is coming and what is what, the Most High is laughing at their schemes because he knows that the day of the wicked is coming. So we have to be patient, We are not on our own. We are just partakers and participants. The Most High is at the head. At the head. He is the one who is leading us. He is the one that is going to protect us, and he's manipulating everything. So he's laughing at them with all these schemes that they are planning. Verse 14.
The wicked have drawn out the sword and have bent their bow to cast down the people and the poor and needy, and to slay such as be of upright conversation.
So all of this is aimed at the children of Yasharal, the set apart remnant of Israel, those that be of upright conversation. But verse 15 says,
their sword shall enter into their own heart, and their bows shall be broken.
Because they shall turn against one another in the end, and war against one another. Tehillim 40 verse 1 to 4, speaking about patience and the importance of patience. Tehillim, Psalms 40 verse 1 to 4. Read, please.
To the chief musician, a psalm of David. I waited patiently for Yahuwah, and he inclined unto me and heard my cry.
You see that? You wait patiently for him. He will incline unto you. He will hear your cry. Not in our time, but in his time. He wants us to go through some things first, right? He knows more than you and I. He knows what we need to go through to be perfected. So he will allow us to go through certain things. Then he will hear our cry. We don't have to worry. Verse 2.
He brought me up also out of an horrible pit, out of the miry clay, and set my feet upon a rock, and established my goings.
So no matter what we're going through, no matter what we're in, he can and will bring us out of this horrible pit. Verse 3.
And he had put a new song in my mouth, even praise unto our Aloha. Many shall see it, and fear, and shall trust in Yahuwah.
Okay, what verse 4 says?
Blessed is the man that maketh Yahuwah his trust, and respecteth not the proud, nor such as turn aside to lies.
Blessed is the man, Baruch is that man that maketh Yahuwah his trust. You trust in Yahuwah, so you wait patiently on him. And do not respect the proud, nor such as turn aside to lies, the liars of this world. What we see happening with Christians, they love and respect these liars, looking up to them and following everything that they say. These proud liars, right? And they respect everything that they say as they fall prey to their lies. That doesn't happen to us. Abram 6:10 to 12. Hebrews 6:10 to 12. We're talking about patience to overcome this temptation. Verse 10.
For Aloha is not unrighteous to forget your work and labor of love, which ye have shewed toward his name, in that ye have mistreated to the saints and to minister.
They have ministered unto the saints.
And do minister.
All right. He's not unrighteous to forget your work and labor of love. So we're going to see is your patience. He's not going to reject your patience, and your patience will not go unrewarded. Verse 11.
And we desire that every one of you do shew the same diligence to the full assurance of hope unto the end.
Be diligent unto the end. Right? Being in assurance of that hope that you have. And it's that hope that will keep you patient even in tribulation. Verse 12.
That ye be not slothful, but followers of them who through faith and patience inherit the promises.
Through faith and patience, do what?
Inherit the promises.
So the promises are not just gotten like that.
Yep.
You just don't go into religion and this and that. You have to go through things. But he is going to reward you in the end for your faith and patience. Be not slothful. And this goes to our people in our group. Always have to put in that punch. Who are slothful in doing certain things. You know what I'm talking about. Right? Be not slothful, but followers of them who through faith and patience inherit the promises. Promises are received through patience. Verse 16.
16.
No. It's at
15.
16. Yes, verse 15. Yes, go ahead.
And so, after he had patiently endured, he obtained the promise.
That was speaking about Abraham. Abraham didn't just get this great promise just like that. He patiently endured up to the point of being willing to offer up his son. Right? Patiently endured. And after he patiently endured, he obtained the promise. So that is the same thing with us. Luke 21:15 to 19. Speaking about patience and how the patience can get us through this trial that is upon this earth. 15 to 19. Read, please.
For I will give you a mouth and wisdom, which all your adversaries shall not be able to gainsay nor resist.
All right, this is when we are in trial in the end time. This is speaking about now. Verse 16.
And ye shall be betrayed both by parents and brethren and kinsfolks and friends, and some of you shall they cause to be put to death.
All right. What do you think? What do you think we're gonna be betrayed with in this end time? It's at the time of the MNOTB, right, Wayne?
Indeed.
Our parents, brethren, and kinsfolks and friends who take this thing, eventually they are gonna be controlled. Charmaine, can mute your mic, please. Eventually, they're going to be controlled, and they're going to come a time when they are going to rat on people. They're going to tell on people who have not taken of this thing. They're going to betray you. And this is why I say, from someone takes that vax, that person now becomes your enemy. It could be your mother, father, sister, brother, uncle. They become your enemy because it is controllable. And there will be control in the end to cause them to turn on you. Verse 21, verse 17.
17. And ye shall be hated of all men for my name's sake.
But
there shall not an hair of your head perish.
In verse 19.
In your patience possesses ye your souls.
In your patience possess ye your soul. It is through your patience that you will stay alive. Through patience, you will stay alive and keep your soul from being blemished.
Brother B.
Yes, bro.
I have two things just to look on real quick.
Yeah.
So the part where we see where even our own families will be against us.
Yeah.
One of the reasons I'm seeing that they will do that, when we are moving towards truth and they are in darkness, they are trying to get us to come in darkness, right?
Yes.
So when they go and take that MOTB or whatever it is, the mark of the beast, and
yeah,
they will still be so wrong in trying to inform on us only because we did not come their way. We did not listen to them and go take that vaccine. So they will be so much against us. So already we will see some of these things happening because some of them, even though they don't know what they believe, they want us to believe what they believe.
Yes.
So it is very dangerous for us to know truth and allow the blind to call us away from truth.
Yes.
And that's just one point. Could you please go back to Psalms 37 verse 10 real quick? I didn't want
Psalms, I went there. 37?
Yeah.
Verse
10.
Oh.
37 verse 10. For yet a little while, and the wicked shall not be, yea, thou shalt diligently consider his people. And also, what I'm seeing matching up with that is Revelation, let me get it back here. Revelation 2 verse 10. It is all tying up to what we are talking about patience. He said, fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Yes. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, yet ye may be tried, and ye shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life.
Yep.
So that is it is so tying up, even unto death. So that which they are doing, let's not bow, even unto death. Because we see just for 10 days, it's 10 days, right?
Yeah.
So when you see those people go and take their vaccine and they're working.
Don't call the name, don't call the word.
Oh, that vac, things will appear to be going on for them. Okay, they'll be working, they can fly. It's only because they take the vac. Don't worry and fret like, okay, you have made a mistake. What it is saying, just for 10 days. The trial and the test for 10 days. So our time will come when we will be okay and they will be in the back seat. So it's just to encourage us that the scripture is alive and we just need to live what the word is saying and don't fear what cannot damage our soul and our body. Let's fear him who can take care of both of them.
And what this 10 days is implying, again, as we said, it is just for a short
time.
All right. It's no long time. It's not drawn out the whole future continuing and things continuing without us and we there struggling and suffering and dying for hunger. Oh, none of that. Just for a short time. And the Most High takes care of his children. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. He shall have us under his wings, taking care of us. No time to worry about. Yeah, all of those things, all those provisions. We cast our cares on him because he cares for us. Romans 5, verse 3 to 5. Read, please.
And not only so, but we splendor in tribulations, also knowing that tribulation worketh patience.
Tribulation worketh patience. So for us to have patience, we must go through some form of
tribulation.
All right, continue.
And patience, experience, and experience hope.
All right, so it's all a chain: tribulation, patience, experience, and hope. And it is that hope that will keep us patiently awaiting our hope. Continue.
And hope make it not ashamed, because the love of Allah is shed abroad in our hearts by the Holy Spirit, which is given unto us.
All right, so hope make it not ashamed, which means that which you patiently await, the Most High will make sure that because of your patience, you will not be ashamed. You will get that which you hoped for. All right. So throughout this temptation, we're having patience throughout this temptation. One thing that should not be lacking throughout, the greatest weapon we have throughout all of this is prayer. Pray against temptation. How many of us do this? Pray against temptation. Temptation and prayer. Read, please, Wayne.
And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the splendor forever. So be it.
All right. This is our Father prayer. Lead us not into temptation. We have to pray that the Most High does not lead us into temptation. So another thing that people don't understand. The Most High gives us a strong delusion if we do not want to believe his truth. I was telling someone that what is happening is the Most High has blinded the eyes of these people who are dead set on taking this mark. He has led them into temptation. And this temptation has overcome them. So throughout all this, we have to pray this prayer that we are not led into temptation. Not that he will lead those who are set apart and those who truly obey him. But the Messiah prayed and told his disciple to pray, lead us not into temptation. Read verse 26:41, please.
Watch and pray that he enter not into temptation. The spirit indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak.
You see that again? We have to pray that we do not enter into temptation. And this snare that is upon this earth is a temptation. It is a snare. It is a deception. It is a trick. Pray that we are not tricked. All right? Because the flesh is weak. He said it. The flesh is weak. Therefore, you need help from the spirit. Romans 12:12. Oh, you were saying something?
Yeah, I was just going to say, and we know where temptation comes from. So, very important for us to pray not to be led into temptation.
Yeah. He is the agent that is given permission to tempt us.
Yep.
That's how it is. Because he actually, the Most High, as we know, uses him to achieve his will. verse 41.
41. I think I just read 41.
Oh yeah, verse 12, Romans 12, 12.
Rejoice in hope, patient in tribulation, continue instant in prayer.
So we see prayer there with patience and tribulation. So we're going through troubles, we're going through trials, we're going through these uncertain times, when people are when this whole foolishness is there. We are not confused because we know what is happening and what is coming. We know the end game. So we are sitting here and people are confused and they're coming to us and saying, oh, this, and we're like, oh yeah, right. All right. Rejoice in hope, patient in tribulation, continuing instant in prayer. Instant in prayer. So throughout all of this, prayer has to guide us. Prayer has to be our guiding light. Snare. Just want to remind us that this temptation is the snare, is a trap, a trick, a stratagem, temptation. So this is how you go through it. As we showed you, the patience of the saints, not loving our lives unto the death. And we also have to pray that we are not led into temptation. All right? So now we look at how do we escape from temptation. Well, you're going to get everything here now. You're getting the recipe here for everything. You're getting the good, the bad, and you're getting the answers on how to overcome. Everything according to scripture. All right? Sirach 31, verse 33, verse 1, Ecclesiasticus 33, verse 1 says, there shall no evil happen unto him that feareth Yahuwah, but in temptation, even again, he will deliver him. The Most High delivers us out of temptation. It does not mean that we will not enter into temptation, but he will find a way to deliver us out of temptation. 1 Corinthians 10:13. You're going to see how. Read, please, Wayne.
There hath no temptation taken you, but such as is common to man. But Allah is faithful, who will not suffer you to be tempted above that ye are able, but will with the temptation also make a way to escape, that ye may be able to bear it.
So a lot of people here are worrying. Believers, we don't have to worry. Throughout this temptation, he will make a way for us to escape. He will make a way that we may be able to bear. He's not going to give us more than we can bear. Will not suffer you to be tempted above that you are able. So each man according to that which he can bear. Ezra 9:7-9. Read, please.
Since the days of our fathers have we been in a great trespass unto this day, and for our iniquities have we, our kings and our priests, been delivered into the hand of the kings of the lands, to the sword, to captivity, and to a spoil, and to confusion of faith, as it is this day.
All right. As it is to this day, ever since our captivity, ever since coming across to this side of the world, all right, we have been delivered into the hands of these people, of the wicked of this earth. Right now we are in the hands, helplessly in the hands of the wicked of this earth. We, Jamaica, should be a sovereign country. We see that whatever we do is in keeping with the rest of the world. And whatever we do, there seems to be no differentiation between us and the rest of this world. It seems as if everything that is good for England or America is what is good for us. We have been given into their hands. And whether we like it or not, we are still in captivity to them. Verse 8.
And now for a little space, grace had been shred from Allah of I messed up.
Let me read it. And now for a little space, grace hath been showed from Yahuwah our Allah to leave us a remnant to escape and to give us a nail in his holy place, that our Elohim may lighten our eyes and give us a little reviving in our bondage. Same principle. The Most High does not change. Different situation here. Ezra was speaking about the time of the temple, but it's the same thing that's going to happen in the end. He's going to leave us a remnant to escape. All right? And give us a nail in his holy place. That means he's going to keep us under his wings and give us a reviving even while we are being persecuted. Verse 9.
For we were bondmen, yet our Alua had not forsaken us in our bondage, but had extended mercy unto us in the sight of the kings of Persia, to give us a reviving, to set up the house of Alua, and to repair the desolation thereof, and to give us a wall in Judah and in Jerusalem.
Everything that is happening today is to bring us to this. In the sight of the wicked rulers of this earth, he's going to give us a reviving. So, to set up his house, it's the kingdom that's been established. The kingdom of the Messiah is at hand. All right? And so, to repair the desolations thereof, so Jerusalem and Yehuda will be restored. This is what is happening once again. No change. All right? Second Ezra 9, 1 to 13. Where am I? Second Ezra 9, 1 to 13. Read, please, Wayne.
He answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs pass, which I have told thee before.
This is the angel speaking to Ezra. Verse 2.
Verse 2. Then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made.
This is speaking about the end times. Continue.
Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquake and uproars of the people in the world.
Uproars of the people in the world. This is a hallmark of the end time. Verse 4.
Then shall thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the day that they were before thee, even from the beginning.
Continue.
For like as all that is made in the world hath a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest.
Read verse 6.
And so the times also of the highest have plain beginnings in wonder and powerful work, and ending in effect and signs.
7.
And everyone that shall be saved and shall be able to escape by his work and by faith whereby ye have believed.
Verse 8.
Shall be persevered, shall be preserved from the said perils, and shall see my salvation in my land and within my borders, for I have sanctified them for me from the beginning.
So this is it. When all of these things are coming to pass in the end times, everyone that shall be saved shall escape by their works and by their faith. And we looked at this before. By their works is the commandments of Alua, and by their faith is the faith of Yahusha, where they have believed. They shall be preserved. So how do you escape the temptation? Here is the patience of the saints. It always goes back to that. Here are they that keep the commandments of Alua, which is the works, and the faith of Yahusha. They shall be preserved from the perils. And not only that, they shall see salvation in Israel. They, within my borders, they shall return to Israel. So what we see happening here is the mark of the beast. Through this vax, Satan coming to deceive the world through his businessmen with this medication, is going to divide the people of the world between those who take it and those who do not. Then afterwards, after the division is made, we're going to see this more proof of this. After the division is made, then those who do not take it, those who are its people, they will be brought into the wilderness before they are brought into the land of Israel. That's the process. This is what we are looking forward to in the next few years. The second Exodus and entering into the land of Yasharal. And of course, you know, this famous one in James tells us that the Most High will give us an escape. Where are we? James 1:12. Verse 1:12. Read it, please.
Blessed is the man that endureth temptation, for when he is tried, he shall receive the crown of life, which Yahuwah had promised to them that love him.
All right. This is what we are saying. Endure the temptation through patience. Through patience. Because when you are tried in this temptation and you overcome, you shall receive the crown of life. That is what you're getting in the end. Because Yahuwah has promised it and he cannot break his promise. Okay? So someone, let no man say when he's tempted, I'm tempted of Allah. For Allah cannot be tempted with evil, neither tempteth he any man. But every man is tempted when he's drawn away of his own lust and enticed. So for example, when this thing comes in now, the devil and his people bring this thing to us, this vax. Then we are drawn away of our own lust and enticed when we start thinking, I cannot buy or sell if I don't have this thing. I won't be able to go to school. I won't be able to do this. I won't be able to send my kids to school. I won't be able to fly. I won't be able to do this. What will I do? What will I do? Nothing is wrong with it. Yeah. Nothing is wrong. I'll just take it. That is when you are tempted and you are drawn away of your own lust. So when you say, okay, I'm going to take it. Verse 15 says, then when lust hath conceived, it bringeth forth sin. So when your lust conceives and you say, okay, I can't do without it. I have to carry on my life. Nobody's going to do this for me. I have to do it for myself. And sin, when it is finished, bringeth forth death. So from you make that decision that you're going to take that thing and you actually do take it, it brings forth sin, and sin, when it is finished, brings forth death.
That's it.
Yep. So, another important thing that we are going to look at now is the fact that the beast has very little time. So we want to say this for those people who are considering taking this thing, people all over the world, thinking that, okay, things are going back to normal. I will be able to travel. I will be able to do this. I will be able to do that. The beast has very little time. Not much time left in this age. I'm very sorry. If you have taken this, I'm very sorry. You have wasted your time and you have given away your soul for nothing. Because you have nothing to gain but a few years or a few months of comfort, because things are going to get worse. All right? You have taken something that cannot stop a disease. And this is an indictment to you, you know. Any one of you take it. People have shown to be sick. People are shown to develop all sorts of complications. And the Most High has allowed this to happen as a witness against you, for you to see that you deliberately take this thing. You know it was not good for you and went and took it just to be part of the beast system. You see people being sick. You hear that you still have to wear masks. You still have to hand sanitize. You still have to social distance. It will not protect you from the disease. People can still get it from you. In effect, it is saying that you are still the same way as if you did not take it, and yet still you went and took it. You wasted your time because the beast has a very short time. Chizayon 12, verse 1 to 3.
There's a question on YouTube if you want to answer it now or later.
Okay. Yeah, before I start this, go ahead.
They're asking, where is the wilderness?
No one knows.
Okay.
No one knows. Some people believe it is somewhere close to Yasharal. Some people believe it's close to Yasharal. There is nothing that I have seen so far that can tell me where. But you know, the Most High gives us understanding in increments. So hopefully he will give us the understanding. But I have not seen anyone that can definitively prove where the wilderness is. Revelation 12, verse 1. Read, please, Wayne.
12 verse 1. And there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars.
A woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. Of course, this is the Revelation 12 prophecy, as it is called, which was fulfilled on the September 23rd, 2017. What we want to show people, some people are saying, oh, this is not the mark of the beast. There is no more time for another mark of the beast. This happened 2017, which was about 3.5 years ago. We are in the midpoint of this 3.5 years. Because remember, a year before this prophecy, there was a mark made across the United States. And 7 years after, there'll be another total eclipse that will make another mark across the United States, making an X across the United States. And remember, in the path of the X are some places with the names of Egypt in it. That's the Most High giving us signs. Right? We are in the end times. And let's see what else happened at this time. Read verse 2, please, Wayne. And then go into 3.
And she, being with child, cried, travailing in birth and pained to be delivered. And there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and 7 crowns upon his head.
All right. At the same time, 2017, when this was fulfilled, it told us the appearance of this beast. 7 heads and 10 horns. I wonder if I put down the precepts to match this. 7 heads and 10 horns. Oh, where have we seen this before? So this was 2017. Let's remember that. So we are right in the season. There is no time for another mark of the beast. There is no time for them to come with something again that say the whole world has to take this mark in their hand. No time again. Revelation 13, verse 1. Remember this. 7 heads and 10 horns. Revelation 13, 1. Read, please.
And I stood upon the sand of the sea and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horn 10 crowns, and upon his head the name of blasphemy.
This is the beast that is in the end times that it is speaking about. The beast that will cause, if you go down to verse 16, you see that is the beast that is giving us the mark. And he caused it all. This is the same beast. So we go back to 12 and we see at the same time when this is, then we see the same beast who is given the mark of the beast. My people, this is the mark of the beast. It's the time. Same 7 heads and 10 horned beast. Revelation 13, 5. We're looking at how long the beast won't be here for any long time. That was 2017. And what does it say here?
And there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies, and power was given unto him to continue 42 months.
Oh, to continue how long?
42 months.
That's 3.5 years. So, whenever the beast establishes its kingdom, and it is around this season, don't know the exact date, but around this season, 2017 up to now, it's around this season, he will only continue for 3.5 years. So these people are taking this box, wasting your time. Revelation 17:12. describing the 10 horns.
And the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as king 1 hour with the beast.
The beast will have very little time. He will set up a kingdom, and they are setting up a kingdom in their new world order, dividing the world into 10 districts, 10 kings. And they will have power. How long will they have power?
1 hour.
1 hour is a short time with the beast. So people taking this thing, thinking things are going to go back to normal and life is going to continue. You have wasted your time. You have given away your souls. 1 hour. The beast will have no time. Very little time. So what do you have to gain by doing this? Because destruction for those who take the mark. Revelation 15, 1-8. How long am I doing now? I have so much to get through. Revelation 15.
1 hour and 42 minutes.
Oh boy, look like a 3 hour thing. They don't want to go so long. Revelation 15, go please.
And I saw another sign in heaven, great and marvelous, 7 angels having the 7 last plagues, for in them is filled up the wrath of Aloha.
So this is around the time of the plagues, and we're going to see what's going to happen to those who took the mark of the beast. Verse 2.
And I saw as it were a sea of glass mingled with fire, and them that had gotten the victory over the beast, and over his image, and over his mark, and over the number of his name, stand on the sea of glass, having the harps of Aloha.
And let me tell people this, those who are not following the way, it is not enough only to overcome the mark, to not take the mark. You have to get total victory over the beast. You must not worship the beast. You cannot be a Christian, you cannot be in Christianity. Christianity is the religion of the beast. The 666 in Revelation 13:18 is Christ on a cross. All right? And over his image. At the moment, Christ is the image of the beast. And over his mark and over the number of his name. All right? The number of his name, the 666. Stand on the sea of glass having the harps of Aloha says not only to get victory over that, you have to get victory totally over the beast. So if you are not following the way, you are in trouble. That's why in Revelation 18:4, it says, come out of her, my people, totally come out of Babylon. Read verse 3, please, Wayne.
And they sing the songs of Moses, the servant of Aloha, and the song of the Lamb, saying, great and marvelous are thy works, Yahuwah Aloha Almighty, just and true, and thy ways, thou King of saints.
Just and true are thy ways, thou King of saints. Who shall not fear thee, O Yahuwah, and esteem thy name? For only thou art holy. For all nations shall come and worship before thee, for thy judgments are made manifest. Go to verse 5.
Verse 5. And after that I looked, and behold, the temple of the tabernacle of the testimony in heaven was opened.
So we declare those who did not take the mark, they were celebrating, they were worshiping. Right? Verse 6.
And the 7 angels came out of the temple, having the 7 plagues, clothed in pure and white linen, and having their breasts girded with golden girdles.
All right, so celebrating, but now we see the plagues coming out. I just want to see who the plagues are for. Verse 7, continue.
And verse 7. And one of the 4 beasts gave unto the 7 angels 7 golden vials, full of the wrath of Aloha, who liveth forever and ever.
So we see that the mark of the beast is a divider. It is a divider. It is going to set apart the righteous remnant in the end. The saints of the Most High are going to be divided by the mark of the beast. This is why this has to happen. It's the end of the age, and the Most High is gathering his people for the kingdom. And the mark of the beast is going to be what divides them. And we're going to see that. Continue.
Verse 8. And the temple was filled with smoke from the splendor of Allah and from his power, and no man was able to enter into the temple till the 7 plagues of the 7 angels were fulfilled.
So important these plagues were. No man can go in there until these plagues are let go. Let's see who the first people are going to get the plagues. Because, taking this thing. Verse 1. Go ahead.
Verse 1. And I heard a great voice out of the temple saying to the 7 angels, Go your ways and pour out the vials of the wrath of Allah upon the earth.
And pour it out now. Pour it out, pour it out, pour it out. Verse 1.
Verse 2.
Verse 2, sorry.
And the first went and poured out his vial upon the earth, and there fell a noisome and grievous sore upon the men which had the mark of the beast, and upon them which worship his image.
You see that?
Wow.
What reward? Is it the very first plague? Very first plague. I have a whole lot of people walking around with swords, the whole world walking around with swords.
There's a question on YouTube if you're ready for it.
Yeah, what's that?
Who or what is the 7 heads?
The 7 heads, it says it in the 7 heads are 7. I don't want to detract now. But it says it there somewhere. 7 heads. 7 heads are 7 mountains, yeah. Revelation 17:9. And here is the mind that which hath wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth. And this woman here is the chief of the false religions, the papacy, the Vatican, 7 mountains on which Rome sits. All right, so where were we again? Revelation 14:7-13. Yeah. Oh yeah, because we're looking at what's going to happen to those who take the mark of the beast. Verse 7. This is an angel, right? And what's the angel saying?
Saying
Verse
with 7. Saying with a loud voice, Fear Allah and give splendor to him, for the hour of his judgment is come, and worship him that made heaven and earth and the sea and the fountain of waters.
Continue.
8. And there followed another angel, saying, Babylon is fallen, that great city, because she made all nations drink of the wine of the wrath of her fornication.
Continue.
And the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, If any man worship the beast and his image, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of Allah, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation, and he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb.
Wow. Can you feel this? The wine of the wrath of Allah poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation, his anger. And he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels. So this thing that is only going to last for for a short time. You will go ahead and you take this thing. And you see what happens to you. Verse 11 says,
11. And the smoke of their torment ascended up forever and ever, and they have no rest day or night, who worship the beast and his image, and whoever receive the mark of his name.
Now, when we read verse 10, we thought that it was really terrible. But when we go into 11, the smoke of their torment ascended up forever. It didn't say forever, it says forever and ever.
And ever.
Their torment. And they have no rest day nor night. These people know what they're playing with. No rest day nor night. Can you imagine? When you have a rough day, you go and you sleep at night. You get your rest in the night and you rejuvenate for the next day. But no rest day nor night. Oh, man.
That's almost worse than death itself.
It's worse than death. God, death, at least.
One time, that's it.
Yeah, well, at least we know that after death, you're still not going to get rest. If you're in sin. Revelation 19:11 to 21. It's not, these people, I don't know. I don't know. 19, Revelation 11, 19 to 21, I said. No. What did I have? 19, 11 to 21, sorry. 19, 11 to 21. Yeah, we're gonna see what else is gonna happen to the markers, right? Read, please.
And I saw heaven opened, and behold, a white horse, and he that sat upon him was called Faithful and True, and in righteousness he doth judge and make war.
This is the return of the Mashiach, right? The Messiah. Verse
Yeah.
12.
His eyes were as flame of fire, and on his head were many crowns, and he had a name written that no man knew but he himself.
All right. And we have this red eye thing from Revelation 1 as well, with John's description. And verse 13.
13. And he was clothed with the vesture dipped in blood, and his name is called the Word of Allah.
Verse 14.
And the armies which were in heaven followed him upon white horses, clothed in fine linen, white and clean.
15.
And out of his mouth goeth a sharp sword, that with it should smite the nation, and he shall rule them with a rod of iron, and he treaded the winepress of the fierceness and wrath of Almighty Allah.
All right. So until I just want to interject with this, I keep telling people. The sharp sword, with it he should smite the nations. And the sword, of course, is a word with which he should smite the nations. He's coming to, and he shall rule them with a rod of iron. He's coming to rule the nations. The nations are separate from Yasharal. He and Yasharal are going to rule the nations. The nations will remain separate from Yasharal. Verse 16.
16. And he had on his vesture and on his thigh a name written, King of Kings and Master of Masters.
So
And-
what we're seeing here is a true new world order. This is the true new world order. The Messiah coming to rule the nations. And that's why it says, and ye shall be kings and priests, and ye shall reign with Messiah. So those who are in righteousness, those who are in the kingdom are going to rule the nations. That's what our calling is, you know. Our calling is for us to rule nations, rule the earth from Israel, and we will be part of this government that is ruling the nations. But we have to be in righteousness, because the world and the earth will be ruled in total righteousness. And that sword that is coming out of his mouth is the Torah, the law. It is the law that is going to rule the world. So if you do not obey the law, know the law, you cannot rule the earth. Read verse 17.
And I saw an angel standing in the sun, and he cried with a loud voice, saying to all the fowls that fly in the midst of heaven, come and gather yourselves together unto the supper of the great Allah.
We're going to see who is going to be a part of this great supper for these fowls. Verse 18.
That he may eat the flesh of kings, and the flesh of captains, and the flesh of mighty men, and the flesh of horses, and of them that sit on them, and the flesh of all men, both free and bond, both small and great.
All right. The flesh of all men. Where this come from? Where does this come from, Ian?
I forgot the verse where it came from.
All men, both free and bond, both small and great. Revelation 13:16, the mark of the beast. These are those who took the mark of the beast. Read it again.
And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads.
Just want to match that back. So when we go back here now to 18, that they may eat the flesh of kings and the flesh of all men, both small and both free and bond, both small and great. These are those who took the mark of the beast. They are going to be gathered because this vax that they are taking, this control vax, they are going to be controllable. And when the Messiah returns, they will be compelled to come and fight against the Messiah. So that is why the kings of the earth and their armies are going to be assembled. Read verse 19.
19. And I saw the beast and the king of the earth and their armies gathered together to make war against him that sat on the horse and against his army.
All right. So the kings of the earth are going to amass. This is why they want the whole world to take this vax. They want a whole world army, and which is why they are mixing the seed with the seed of fallen angels. They want a whole world army of transhumans with extra strength, modified strength, that are going to be powerful enough to fight against the Messiah upon his return. But we're going to see when we go to the wilderness, past the wilderness, we're going to see that the Most High is going to spiritually give his people and his army superhuman strength, more than they can amass through their contraption, the substance that they are contracting. Right? So, another blow for those who take the mark. Revelation 13:8. Revelation 13:8. All right. We just want to show who will be, it's good to just interject it here, who will take the mark. Should I put it in? No, let me go to the other verse. 20 verse 12 to 15. Yeah, let me go here. So the final destruction now for those who take the mark, we showed what would happen to them in several different instances. The final one is the lake of fire. Verse 12.
And I saw the dead, small and great, stand before Aloha, and the books were opened, and another book was opened, which is the book of life. And the dead were judged out of those things which were written in the books according to their works.
All right, so he took out the book of life, and they were judged out because of those things. But we're gonna see, go back to where, no, I understand, I misplaced the verse. We're gonna look at the book of life, and we're gonna see verse 8. Read verse 8.
Verse 8. And all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world.
All right. So if they're going to be judged about everything that was written in the book of life, and all that dwell upon him on the earth shall worship the beast, whose name were not written in the book of life. That means those who took the mark of the beast, this revelation judgment, they are not going to be in the book of life. Right, Wayne?
Indeed.
So continue then.
And the sea gave up the dead which were in it, and death and hell delivered up the dead which were in them. And they were judged every man according to their works.
Continue.
And death and hell were cast into the lake of fire. This is the second death.
Verse 15.
and whosoever was not found written in the book of life was cast into the lake of fire.
So those who did not, those who worshiped the beast and who took the mark of the beast, they were not written in the book of life, so they will be cast into the lake of fire. What a choice. No choice at all. And these people are looking like they have a choice. You don't have any choice. Destruction is your choice if you choose this thing. But there's protection for those who refuse the mark. And we've showed it in different verses, but we're just going to show a couple more verses. Daniel 12, verse 1. Daniel 12. Oh, what am I doing up there? Verse 1. Oh, here. Daniel 12, verse 1. As I have the Apocrypha in it, it throws out the order. Read, please, Wayne.
And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince which standeth for the children of thy people. And there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, everyone that shall be found written in the book.
All right. So those whose name are written in the book of life, they shall be delivered at that time, the time of tribulation. All right? The time of tribulation. And that was the time that Messiah was speaking about. The same thing he said, the time of troubles, such as never was since there was a nation, even to up that time. So the saints will be delivered. So people are out there worrying. I don't understand how the Most High works. You know? The Most High works with faith. So it makes things look uncertainty. So it makes things look like gloom and doom for us. Oh, we're not going to be able to buy and sell. We're not going to be able to do this. We're not going to be able to do that. And it looks like gloom to the average person. But guess what? He works through our faith. So through this gloom, we have faith and we have patience and we endure, and he delivers us. And he says, well done, my servant. You didn't let down my name. You never put yourself first. You put me first. You put my word first. And what a great deliverance that will be. Tehillim 27, verse 5. Psalms 27, verse 5. Go, please.
For in the time of trouble he shall hide me in his pavilion. In the secret of his tabernacle shall he hide me. He shall set me up upon a rock.
When shall he hide me? In the what?
Time of trouble.
Hey, he shall do what?
Shall hide me in his pavilion.
All right. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. In the secret of his tabernacle shall he hide me. He shall set me up upon a rock. He will not only hide you, he set you up upon a pedestal. Why do we have to fear? Tehillim 37, 39. If anybody is afraid, I'm not afraid. I rest in his promises. Anything that happened to me, it's up to him. It's his purpose. I cannot avoid it. Tehillim 37, verse 39. 37, 39. Read, please.
But the salvation of the righteous is of Yahweh. He is their strength in the time of trouble.
He is their strength, and he will rescue them, and he will put them upon a pedestal. He is their strength in the time of trouble. And so we go to the wilderness experience. So many things to go through. Because here's the path. Here's the path that we're going to get the understanding. There will be this snare upon this earth, this deception caused by the businessmen, through Satan working through the businessmen to bring the sorcery, the deception upon this earth, this medication upon this earth that will deceive all those who are upon this earth, whose names are not written in the Lamb's book of life. And it will be a dividing line. These people will be set apart, protected, and those who took the mark will be destroyed. As they say in Jamaica, as we say in Jamaica, Most High is going to sort them out. All right? So while they are being sorted out, while they are being punished for their fatal decision, his people will be brought into the wilderness for the second Exodus. The Most High promised that just as he brought the children of Israel out of Egypt once again, he is going to bring his people into the wilderness a second time. And it says here in Ezekiel 20:35-36 on the left, and I will bring you into the wilderness of the people, and there will I plead with you face to face. Like as I pleaded with your fathers in the wilderness of the land of Egypt, so will I plead with you, saith Yahuwah Al-Wahim. Once again, we are going through the wilderness, and this mark of the beast will be the markation, will be what divides the people. So the wilderness experience, let's go. Yeshayahu 32 verses 13-20. Isaiah 32, 13-20. Because there's evidence of it speaking about this in the scriptures, but it is hidden. For the Most High hides his words away from us until we diligently seek him. He says, if we seek him, we shall find him. If we search for him with all our hearts. Read verse 13, please.
Upon the land of my people shall come up thorns and briars, yea, upon all the houses of joy in the joyous city.
Okay, this happens when the children of Israel are in captivity. All right? Land shall be abandoned. Verse 14.
Because the places shall be forsaken.
Palaces.
The palaces shall be forsaken. The multitude of the city shall be left. The forts and towers shall be for dens forever. A joy of wild asses and pastures of flock.
Go ahead.
Until the Spirit be poured upon us from an eye, and the wilderness be a fruitful field, and the fruitful field be counted for a forest.
Until, so Israel abandoned until the Spirit be poured out from on high, and the wilderness becomes a fruitful field. Then, verse 16.
Then judgment shall dwell in the wilderness, and righteousness remain in the fruitful field.
So what is the fruitful field? The wilderness. Judgment shall dwell in the wilderness because his people will be in the wilderness. And righteousness will remain there when his people are going through the wilderness experience. Verse 17.
And the work of righteousness shall be peace, and the effect of righteousness, quietness and assurance forever.
All right. So after this experience, his people will be in total righteousness. Verse 18.
And my people shall dwell in a peaceable habitation, and in sure dwelling, and in quiet resting places.
This is when his people enter into the land of Israel. Verse 19.
When it shall hail, coming down on the forest, and the city shall be low in a low place.
20.
Blessed are ye that sow beside all waters, that send forth thither the feet of the ox and the ass.
We're just looking at the wilderness being described in scripture in places and in ways that we hardly pick it up. 41, 17-20. Then we're going to see him directly telling us that he's going to bring us there. Read, please.
When the poor and needy seek water, and there is none, and their tongue faileth for thirst, I, Yahuwah, will hear them. I, Yahuwah of Israel, will not forsake them.
Continue.
I will open rivers in high places and fountains in the midst of the valley. I will make the wilderness a pool of water and the dry land a spring of water.
Second Exodus 19.
I will plant in the wilderness the cedar, the shittah tree, and the myrtle, and the oil tree. I will set in the desert the fir tree, and the pine, and the box tree together.
20.
And they may see and know and consider and understand together that the land of Yahweh had done this, and the Holy One of Israel had created it.
This is a mystery, all right? He's speaking something that is hard to understand. But in the end, they will know that he is the one who hath done it. Because they will remember and realize that this is Egypt once again. This is the wilderness once again. And they will know that it is the hand of Yahuwah that has done it. Yeshayahu 35, 1 to 10. Read, please.
The wilderness and the solitary place shall be glad for them, and the desert shall rejoice and blossom as the rose.
Hold on, please. Glad for them who? Glad for the children of Israel. This is
Yep.
when we are brought into the wilderness. The wilderness shall be glad for us. Verse 2.
It shall blossom abundantly and rejoice even with joy and singing. The splendor of Lebanon shall be given unto it. The excellency of Carmel and Sharon, they shall see the splendor of Yahuwah and the excellence of Ra'alua.
All right. Verse 3 tells us, read verse 3.
Verse 3, strengthen ye the weak hands and confirm the feeble knees.
Because the wilderness experience is not going to be a vacation in a 5-star hotel. Just as in the coming out of Egypt, there are trials and tribulations and temptations and all of that. All of that will be there. All right? So, we have to be strong. Strengthen the weak hands and confirm the feeble knees. Verse 4.
Say to them that are of a fearful heart, be strong, fear not. Behold, your Aloha will come with vengeance, even Aloha with a recompense. He will come and save you.
Continue.
5. Then the eyes of the blind shall be opened, and the ears of the deaf shall be unstopped.
Continue.
Then shall the lame man leap as an hart, and the tongue of the dumb sing. For in the wilderness shall waters break out, and streams in the desert.
See that? This is the second Exodus he's speaking about in veiled language. All right? Continue.
7. And the parched ground shall become a pool, and the thirsty land spring of water. In the habitation of dragons, where each lay, shall be grass with reeds and rushes.
All right. So this is kind of telling us that the wilderness will be kind of a destitute place. It will try us. It will be a desert. The Most High is going to do a miracle with this thing. It's not going to be a place that looks lush and well, flourishing and nice. It's going to be a place that looks destitute and looks as if it's a worthless place. But he is going to do his wonders and to make waters break out and streams to run in the desert. Continue.
And an highway shall be there, and a way, and it shall be called the way of holiness. The unclean shall not pass over it, but it shall be for those, the wayfaring men, though fools shall not err therein.
Okay. And highway shall be there, and it shall be called a way, and it shall be called the way.
I saw that.
You see that?
Yeah.
This is also hidden. This is our belief, our faith is the way of holiness, the way of righteousness, the way of the Messiah. All right? And it's prophesied that in the wilderness it shall be called the way of holiness. The unclean shall not pass over it, but it shall be for those, the wayfaring men. The what fearing men, Wayne?
In other words, we can say the Yahusha fearing men.
No, the followers of the way. That's what it's saying.
Yeah, right. But also we fearing the Messiah. I mean, we
Yeah.
are doers of the Messiah. So the Messiah doing men.
Yeah, because the Messiah is the way, right?
He's the way.
Yeah. So those of us who follow the wayfaring men, that is the highway.
It, it
That
did not
is
say
the
Christian.
highway. Hello?
I'm saying it did not say the Christians.
No.
It said the
The followers of
wayfaring
the
men.
way. Thank you. And that's all. If anybody is listening, this is the way that we follow. The way of the apostles and the early disciples. The way of truth. Verse 9.
No lion shall be there, nor any ravenous beast shall go up thereon. It shall not be found there, but the redeemed shall walk there.
Oh. This is after coming out of the wilderness. Followers of the way, the redeemed shall walk there. No lion, no bad, harmful, wicked people or ravenous beasts shall be there, whether man or animal. And verse 10 says,
And the ransomed of Yahuwah shall return and come to Zion with songs and everlasting joy upon their heads. They shall obtain joy and gladness, and sorrow and sighing shall flee away.
I want you to see this, what's happening. It is the wilderness first, and then we enter into Zion. No different from coming out of Egypt. You see that, Wayne?
Yep.
All right. No different. Hosea, did I do? There are so many places. Ezekiel 20, 33 to 44. Ezekiel 20. Ezekiel 20, 33 to 44. Read, please, Wayne.
As I live, say Yahuwah or Allah, surely with a mighty hand and with a stretched out arm and with fury poured out will I rule over you.
Continue.
And I will bring you out from the people and will gather you out of the countries wherein ye are scattered, with a mighty hand and with a stretched out arm and with fury poured out.
And with fury poured out.
Yes.
Whoa. Verse 35.
And I will bring you into the wilderness of the people, and there will I plead with you face to face.
Continue.
Like as I plead with your fathers in the wilderness of the land of Egypt, so will I plead with you, say Yahuwah, Allah.
This is coming up very, very soon for us. This is what we are going to go through. The wilderness. He's going to bring us into the wilderness of the people. All right? There's Christians waiting on a rapture. We're not waiting on a rapture. We're waiting on a wilderness to bring us into the land. All right? Because the Most High is testing us to the T. We have to be perfected. So even though we escape and go through this mark of the beast, we still have to go through the wilderness to be perfected. Verse 37.
And I will cause you to pass under the rod, and I will bring you into the bond of the covenant.
He's going to bring us into the bond of the covenant. Because even though we are in the new covenant, we still have to be brought into the bond of the covenant, just as the children of Israel, when they were coming out of Israel, had to make another covenant in Moab before they entered into the promised land. The same thing is going to happen to us. He that endureth to the end shall be saved. All right? Verse 38.
38. And I will purge out from among you the rebels and them that transgress against me. I will bring them forth out of the country where they sojourn, and they shall not enter into the land of Israel, and ye shall know that I am Yahuwah.
All right, this verse is saying a lot. First, he will purge out from among you the rebels. So there will be rebels among us. And if we go back to the parable of the wheat and the tares will grow together. And he told you that the field is the world, the seed, the good seed are the good people of the kingdom, and the tares are that were sown by Satan. So even when you're going into the kingdom, Satan will be allowed to sow some seeds among the righteous people. Okay? Because if you had all righteous people going to the wilderness, it would not be a great wilderness experience. How will the people be tested? How would they be tried? Who would tempt them? Who would try to get them to disobey the Most High? You have to have some of Satan's people in there to perfect his people and to try his people. So, through the process, he will purge out those who are lawless, the rebels who are lawless, right? And those who sin against him. He will bring them out of the country where they sojourn. So the different countries in which you are scattered, you are Israelites, yeah, they're going to bring you out. And he did not take the mark of the beast, he's going to take you out. But you shall not enter into the land of Israel if you rebel against him. And ye shall know that I am Yahuwah. So this is the same process. Wilderness first, then into the land of Israel. Okay? Yeah, I guess I made a point there. The point there. Want to go through quickly. Hosea 2:10-23. Let me see if Hosea 2 tells us. There's so many of them. But how many times are we there? No.
Just 2 hours and 20 minutes, roughly.
All right. Read from verse 10.
Verse 10. And now will I discover her lewdness in the sight of her lovers, and none shall deliver her out of mine hand.
This was speaking to Israel because Israel was going after the Lord, who is Baal. Israel was worshiping the Lord, and the Most High was telling them what he will do for their worship of the Lord. Verse 11, read please.
I will also cause all her mirth to cease, her feast days, her new moons, and her Sabbath, and all her solemn feasts.
Verse 12.
Verse 12. And I will destroy her vines and her fig tree, whereof she had said, There are my reward that my lovers have given me, and I will make them a forest, and a beast of the field shall eat them.
All right, let me skip it. Okay, verse 14.
Therefore,
after that, no. Oh yeah. Continue.
Therefore, behold, I will allure her and bring her into the wilderness and speak comfortable unto her.
There we go again. Bring her into the wilderness. And what will you do? Verse 15.
And I will give her a vineyard from thence, and the valley of Achor for a door of hope, and she shall sing there, as in the days of her youth, and as in the day when she came up out of the land of Egypt.
All right, so once again, second Exodus. And let's see what's going to happen. Because the Most High is going to make sure that he blots out the names of the false names that we have. We battle with the name of the Most High. When people are arguing about his name is this and his name is not this, he is going to make sure that he takes out the name of Baal or Baal out of our mouths, because they trick us into calling Baal by the different names, thinking that those names are the correct names. Verse 16.
And it shall be at that day, say Yahuwah, that thou shalt call me Ishi, and shall call me no more Baal or Baali.
You shall call me Ishi. I think Ishi means husband. And shall no more call me Baali. Let's get to the meaning of the words. Ishi. Ishi is a man. I think it is husband. Yeah, husband. And Baali is my master. Yeah. Yeah, Baali is my master. Continue.
17. For I will take away the name. 17.
Yeah.
For I will take away the names of Baalim out of her mouth, and they shall no more be remembered by their name.
This is what's going to happen in the wilderness. In the wilderness, we are all going to be told or given the true name of the Most High. All right? So we no longer call on the false names. Verse 18.
And in that day will I make a covenant for them with the beasts of the field, and with the fowl of the heaven, and with the creeping things of the ground, and I will break the bow and the sword and the battle out of the earth, and will make them to lie down safely.
So you see, in that time, the animals will not be able to trouble us. It's going to make a supernatural thing is going to happen. And the animals will no longer be able to harm us. Snakes, whatever, will no longer be poisonous, creeping things. All right? And he's going to break the bow and the battle out of the earth. So nobody will be able to war against us. Verse 19.
Verse 19. And I will betroth thee unto me forever. Yea, I will betroth thee unto me in righteousness, and in judgment, and in loving kindness, and in mercies.
Continue.
I will even betroth thee unto me in faithfulness, and thou shalt know Yahuwah.
Okay. All right. So that's another wilderness again. Yeshayahu 43, 19 to 21. Just giving evidence of the wilderness to make it abundantly clear. We're not going to be in a rapture. It's people are going to be taken into the wilderness before being taken into the land of Israel. Read, please.
Behold, I will do a new thing. Now it shall spring forth. Shall he not know it? I will even make a way in the wilderness and rivers in the desert.
All right, here again.
The
Same thing we said, that it will be a parched land and he's going to make that land fruitful. Continue.
The beast of the field shall honor me, the dragon and the owls, because I give water in the wilderness and river in the desert, to give drink to my people, my chosen.
Once again, same thing that's happened out of Egypt. 21.
This people have I formed for myself. They shall shew forth my praise.
So the children of Israel, he formed them for himself. And we're going to see a very important thing coming up, because we have a very nice ending and very interesting ending coming up to this presentation. Yeah, let's go. Ezekiel 34, 25 to 31. Ezekiel 34, 25 to 31. Go ahead, please.
And I will make with them a covenant of peace, and will cause the evil beasts to cease out of the land, and they shall dwell safely in the wilderness, and sleep in the woods.
Another wilderness. And another, everything is consistent. The beasts shall cease, the evil beasts shall cease out of the land, so that the children of Israel can dwell safely, whether figuratively as beasts or literally beasts. Children of Israel will be able to dwell safely. Verse 26.
And I will make them and the places round about my hills a blessing, and I will cause the shower to come down in his season. There shall be showers of blessing.
All right, this is speaking about Zion, my holy hill, Zion. After the wilderness, then they shall enter. Verse 27.
And the tree of the field shall yield her fruit, and the earth shall yield her increase, and they shall be safe in their land, and shall know that I am Yahuwah, when I have broken the bonds of their yoke, and delivered them out of the hand of those that serve themselves, that serve themselves of them.
All right, so those wicked people are on this earth, it's gonna break us out of their hands. 28.
And they shall no more be a prey to the heathen, neither shall the beasts of the land devour them, but they shall dwell safely, and none shall make them afraid.
29.
And I will raise up for them a plant of renown, and they shall be no more consumed with hunger in the land, neither bear the same of the heathen anymore.
Bear the shame of the heathen anymore. So we are going to be highly exalted. Verse 30.
Thus shall they know that I am Yahuwah, their Elohim. I'm with them, and that they, even the house of Israel, are my people, say Yahuwah, their Elohim.
Okay, even the whole world are my people.
Oh no.
The house of Israel. The 12 tribes of Israel. I, Yahuwah, there. Israel's Elohim. I, Yahuwah, belong to Israel and none else. I'm with them and that they. And he emphasized it, he said they, even the house of Israel. So he emphasized it. Don't, let's not get it twisted, thinking that they is any believer or any nation. Let me specify and tell you that they means the house of Israel. They are my people. The house of Israel are his. Don't get it twisted. And he went on to say, verse 31, man.
And he my flock, the flock of my pasture, and men, and I am your Elohim. Say,
Wayne, read carefully. And ye my flock, the flock of my pasture, are men, and I am your Elohim, saith Yahuwah, Elohim. All right. So he's declaring Israel again. I am your Elohim. You are my flock. It's speaking about Israel. Once again, wilderness experience. Revelation 12, 5-6. This is speaking about the end times. Revelation 12, 5-6. Read, please.
And she brought forth a man-child who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron. And her child was caught up unto Elohim, unto his throne.
Verse 6.
And the woman fled into the wilderness, where she had a place prepared of Elohim, and they should feed her there 1,203 days.
That they should feed her there 1,203 days. All right. Wilderness experience. That is how long it says the wilderness experience is. Revelation 14:16. Done with the wilderness now. Revelation 14:16. No, it's the wrong one. No. All right. So the next thing now, and this is the exciting ending. The exciting ending is what will happen upon leaving the wilderness. Because I want to tickle your minds because this has come to me. And I'm saying, whoa, I've never heard this before. When these scriptures started coming together. Leaving the wilderness. Jeremiah 51, verse 20. Now, when I used to see this, I had trouble trying to fit this into the timeline. 51, verse 20. I had this trying to fit the timeline. When will this happen? Read please, Wayne.
Thou art my battle axe and weapons of war. For with thee will I break in pieces the nations, and with thee will I destroy kingdoms.
So I was saying now, this is speaking about Babylon. When will he use Israel as a battle axe? But before that, let's read verse 19. Very important. Very, very important. Read verse 19.
The portion of Jacob is not like them, for he is the former of all things, and Israel is the rod of his inheritance. Yahuwah of hosts is his name.
Yahuwah Sabaoth is his name. Israel is the rod of his inheritance. What does this mean? What does this mean? What does this mean? Anyone? Any of the men understand what this means?
Does that mean that we belong to him?
Yes, but it's more than that.
Israel is the rod of his inheritance. So Israel, we are the ones he used to bring forth the inheritance.
Yes, but how?
So you know that we have to go through all of these temptation and stuff like that.
Wrong
So
path.
we are the ones being used to go through. We are the one he used to go through to inherit, because he could not use the ones of the world. He could not use any other nation. So we are the ones he used to inherit.
All right. Let's see the connection. Israel is a rod of his inheritance. Yahuwah of hosts, Yahuwah of armies is his name. It's very important to know. This Yahuwah of hosts. Yahuwah of hosts means Yahuwah of armies. He's speaking about badness, as we say in Jamaica. Yahuwah of armies is his name. Israel is the rod of his inheritance. Then he went on to say, thou art my battle axe. Doesn't ring a bell. And weapons of war.
Yeah, so we are the ones they use as his weapon, basically.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
To whoop the butts of the nations.
Yep.
But when we transgress, he uses the nations to whoop our butts. That's just how it is. So what he's saying here in Jeremiah 51 is that in the end times, he's going to use Israel again to whoop the butts of the Babylonian kingdom. For with thee will I break in pieces the nations, and with thee will I destroy kingdoms. Continue.
And with thee will I break in pieces the horse and his rider, and with thee will I break in pieces the chariot and his rider.
Continue.
With thee also will I break in pieces man and woman, and with thee will I break in pieces old and young, and with thee will I break in pieces the young man and the maid.
23.
I will also break in pieces with thee the shepherd and his flock, and with thee will I break in pieces the husbandman and his yoke of oxen, and with thee will I break in pieces captains and rulers.
24.
And I will render unto Babylon and to all the inhabitants of Chaldea all their evil that they have done in Zion in your sight, said Alua. Said
All right.
Yahuwah.
What he's going to do is going to use Israel in the end to whoop the butts of these people. So when we see this, where is it? Read verse 17 to 18, please. Read verse 17.
But upon Mount Zion shall be deliverance, and there shall be holiness, and the house of Jacob shall possess their possessions.
Shall possess their possession, the house of Jacob, and Zion shall be deliverance and holiness. But here it says in verse 18,
and the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame, and the house of Esau for a stubble, and they shall kindle in them and devour them, and there shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau, for Yahuwah had spoken it.
He is going to be using his people in the end to destroy the nations, destroy the Edomites who are ruling this world.
So
you see that?
Yes, so the very same way in Revelation, 19, 20, where the kings of the earth will use their army to make war against him who is coming on the earth. So the very same way, He's going to use Israel as his army
Thank you.
to dun them.
Yeah, to whoop their butts.
Mm.
So we're gonna see. I think it's the last one. Joel 2, 1 to 11. We're gonna see that this is when coming out of the wilderness. Remember when the children of Israel came out of the wilderness. Let's go to Yahusha 6. Joshua 6. Verse 1.
Now Jericho was straightly shut up because of the children of Israel. None went out and none came in.
This was when Israel had just crossed the Jordan to go and possess the land of Israel. The land of Canaan at the time it was. All right? Just as how when we leave the wilderness, we were kicking butts, we are going to be kicking butts after we leave the wilderness once again. Read verse 2.
And Yahuwah said unto Yahushua, See, I have given into thine hand Jericho, and the king thereof, and the mighty men of valor.
Nothing different. Yahuwah has not changed. He does not change. Verse 3.
And he shall compass the city, all ye men of war, and go round about the city once. Thus shalt thou do 6 days.
All right, and we know the story. Around the wall of Jericho 7 times without a shout. Yeah, we know the story. So let's go to Joel. Joel 2, 1. This is what is going to happen after we leave the wilderness. Our people are going to be spiritually empowered. Going to be spiritually empowered. The men of war are going to be spiritually empowered, because remember, not all the people who left the wilderness were soldiers. So there is going to be an army leaving the wilderness that is going to be a superhuman like army. I don't even want to use the word, but they will have superhuman strength, etc. Read from verse 1, please.
Blow he the trumpet in Zion.
Oh, man. You had that one prepared.
And sound an alarm in my holy mountain. Let all the inhabitants of the land tremble, for the days of Yahweh cometh, for it is nigh at hand.
Continue.
A day of darkness and of gloomness, a day of clouds and of thick darkness, as the morning spread upon the mountain. A great people and strong. There had not been ever the like, neither shall be any more after it, even to the years of many generations.
This is how his people are going to be empowered. Great and strong, never like it, and never ever will be. Super human strength. Verse 3.
A fire devoureth before them, and behind them a flame burneth. The land is as the Garden of Eden before them, and behind them a desolate wilderness, yea, and nothing shall escape them.
This is how you know this is when they are coming from the wilderness. The land before them is as the Garden of Eden. That is when the land is Israel before them. Right? Behind them, a desolate wilderness. They are just coming from the wilderness and heading towards the land of Israel. But nothing shall escape them. But before they go in, they are not even going to have to go around 7 times without a shout, as they did with Jericho. Because verse 4 says,
the appearance of them is as the appearance of horses, and as horsemen, so shall they run.
5.
Like the noise of chariots on the tops of mountains shall they leap, like the noise of a flame of fire that devoureth the stubble, and as a strong people set in battle array.
And we know in the book of Joshua, it tells us about Simon and Levi, how they could leap up high walls. Once again, Going back to those days. Verse 6.
Before their face, the people shall be much painted. All
Pained.
faces pained. All faces shall gather blackness.
All right. So when people see them coming, people are going to be like, oh man. Yeah. Verse 7.
They shall run like mighty men. They shall climb the wall like men of war. And they shall march every one on his ways. And they shall not break their ranks.
Continue.
18. Neither shall one trust another. They shall walk every one on his path. And when they fall upon the sword, they shall not be wounded.
8, 9.
They shall run to and fro in the city. They shall run upon the wall. They shall climb up upon the houses. They shall enter in at the windows like a thief.
They are going to be so. Oh, verse 10.
And the earth shall quake before them. The heaven shall tremble. The sun and the moon shall be dark. The stars shall withdraw their shining.
And what will Yahuwah do?
And Yahuwah shall utter his voice before his army, for his camp is very great, for he is strong that executed his word. For the day of Yahweh is great and very terrible, and who can abide it?
All right. So today's teaching is a journey from now right until the time when before we enter into the land of Israel. A snare, a trap, a stratagem, a trick shall be upon this earth, coming from Satan through his businessmen, who are the great men of the earth, who will deliver their sorcery, their medication, their pharmaceutical upon this earth and deceive all of them who are on this earth, whose names are not written in the Lamb's book of life. And they will fall for it. But the children of Israel, those who patiently endure and do not fear for their lives, they will endure and they will overcome and be taken into the wilderness, where they will go through their wilderness experience and be transformed into righteousness and true holiness. And upon leaving the wilderness, his army will go forth before him and devour the heathen that are before them. And then we shall enter into the land of Yasharal. All right? That is the summary of what we just presented here today. So it gives a timeline, let us know exactly what is happening, because our thing is we must know what is happening in this world. We cannot be here living like and not know what is happening and wondering what is happening, because if you don't know, you are destroyed. Hosea 4:6 says, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge, because ye seek not knowledge. So we have to know and get knowledge, or else we will be destroyed. So, because we don't want to be destroyed,
and not know what is happening and wondering what is happening, because
what was that? Yeah, so we have to know exactly what is happening. All right, so I hope that made sense and contributed something to someone. Wayne, could you give us your 10 cents, please?
Well, maybe it is 5 cents today. After reviewing the scriptures, it kind of helps us more to know why Christianity is not it, and why Christians will be where they are until they see it diligently, because the truth is hidden. And that is why the scripture says, if we seek him diligently, it did not just say seek him, because anyone can say, okay, I seek, but I didn't find. But it goes for us, say, seek him diligently, we shall find him. So guess what? The word is all there. So until we see it diligently, we will be in darkness. So after today's teaching, let us seek more diligently to see what he's saying to us, to see that it is no rapture thing, because with the whole rapture belief, it is looking so easy. He just come and he's taking all these people so easy, no problem, no wilderness experience, just so easy.
Yes.
And we know that, look here, it will not be just so easy. If we say we love the Most High, we will be tried and tested. If we are going to say yes, we believe, we will be tested and tried. So even when we said yes, I believe, and we go and do one thing that will match up with belief, because it is more than that, we will be tested in other areas of our lives. So not taking the vaccine, being in the wilderness, guess what? It requires more than that, because not taking the vaccine is just not taking it. But the real love and trust will happen when we overcome the wilderness experience. And it is just for us to really gravitate to what truth is, and comes what may, mother, father, sister, brother, wife, husband, let no one stand between you and the truth. Let no one stand between you and the Messiah. Let us push to walk like him, to talk like him, do what he does, do it the way or we did it, and we will be okay.
Yep. And that wilderness experience, he has been preparing us for that from such a long time. And most of us didn't know, because when he gave us the Feast of Tabernacles, he told us we should dwell in booths, just as the children of our tents, just as the children of Israel for 7 days, just as the children of Israel dwelled in tents while they were in the wilderness. So that was preparing us mentally to get to experience the wilderness experience, so that when we get into the wilderness, it will not be such of a
new thing.
Yes, and rough thing to adjust to. So not, the more things the words expose themselves, then the more you get the understanding of the wisdom and the reason that we should just obey Yahuwah without understanding what he's saying. Just do it. And then after we do it, then he gives us the understanding. It is not we get the understanding first, then we do it. It's we do it. And then he shows us the wisdom and say, oh, and you can say, oh, that is why he gave me this. And this is why he told us to do this. Yeah?
We have to obey like children.
Okay, that's it.
Yeah.
That's just it.
Very, very, that is very important to obey, because it is only after you obey you see things happen. Because obeying about those feast days, just obey and do it. When you do it, you don't then realize that what you are doing is preparing for the same thing to come.
Yes.
But don't sit and ask, why should I? This happened 1,000 years ago. It didn't apply to me. Why should I do this? Why should I? That is when you will be stuck and doomed. Just do it. Don't ask the Most High any question. Don't wonder. Just do it. That's it. And you will never know what is beyond it unless you do it.
Exactly. Yep. So, been on a long time. I want to close off on YouTube. Just want to remind you to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And share the word, yes? And check out justtheword.tv. Our videos, all our videos are on justtheword.tv, along with truth videos, hundreds of other truth videos that we have handpicked as those that are relevant to the end times and relevant to us coming into truth and relevant to us as believers. If you sit on Just the Word TV for one day, your whole life will be changed, because you will see videos that actually will show you, let you understand this world and the tricks of this world, and understand the word and what the word is actually saying, and the word of truth. It is a truth station, just the word.tv. Okay, so thanks for all of those who have been listening. Oh, I think Janet said there was a question on YouTube. What's the question, please, if I can answer it? What was the question on YouTube?
It's someone wants to know, is it us who are gonna fight the superhumans?
If it's us,
Yes. So are we the ones that are going to be used to fight the superhumans?
that's a very good question. In Revelation 19, it tells us that the Messiah and his army. Now, I believe the army to be the 144,000. I believe that what the Christians call rapture, it will be those 144,000 will be caught up to meet the Messiah and will be with him as his army to fight the transhumans as in Revelation 19. Yeah? So I know about the 144,000, but I have not yet figured out if there will be any others. But I believe that when we are coming out of the wilderness, I'm not sure. Couldn't give a definitive yes or no. But I'm sure that his army, the 144,000 will be with him. And in Revelation 19, it tells us that all men, small and great, free and bond, that they will be destroyed by him. And then I know the 144,000 will be there at that time. So that's the best that I can do on that. Okay. Any other questions there? No, I had answered it. Oh, Uncle Ben, you had asked a question on YouTube. Did I answer it? I think I answered it.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
Okay, all right. All right. So this is Chazak Eliyahu Yasharal here from Just a Word. Please continue to share and to listen our videos and let the word go out. I hope this was useful to you. All right. Thank everyone who was here today, and we continue in this group after we leave YouTube. All right. So those in this group who are here, you don't have to leave. Let us have our regular chat. All right. So shalom, all y'all on YouTube. All right. All the best. Next time.